Here are my top tips for success as an IGCSE student. So this video is primarily focused for the IGCSE and GCSE students out there. Personally, I know that the journey is not easy. The IGCSE is a 2-year program, and you need a lot of discipline and dedication and patience to work through the journey effectively. So whether you are already midway through your journey in the IGCSE program and you feel like you're lacking off a bit or something, or whether you are about to start the IGCSE program, I'm sure that these tips are going to help you in whatever situation you're in. So the first tip I want to say is that try to keep yourself in the revision cycle. Keep revising as much as possible. One thing I like to say to everybody who's in the IGCSE system is that study today as if tomorrow is your external exam. So, for those who don't know, and for those who are looking to join the IGCSE system, in the 2-year program, you are basically going to study your chosen subjects in depth, and by the end of your 2-year program, you're going to be tested by everything you took from the beginning of the year till the end of the year in one exam. So, for example, you're taking your IGCSE O levels, which is going to be your grade 9 and 10, ninth grade and 10th grade, year 10 and 11. So, you're going to be giving the external exam or the board exam of your O levels, starting from everything you took in the beginning of grade 9 till the end of grade 10. And so, of course, it's not something easy to do because you have to memorize, or let's say understand, everything very clearly for all the subjects that you've taken, everything from the beginning till the end. So it's definitely not something easy to do. It requires a lot of discipline, it requires a lot of commitment and patience. So this is why it's important to keep yourself in the revision cycle. Keep revising as much as possible and study every single day as if tomorrow is your board exam. Because if you lack off, if you, let's say, focus on the current topics that you're studying and start forgetting your previous topics, all the effort that you're putting in throughout the 2 years is all going to go to waste. So there are many ways you can use to revise or keeping yourself in the revision cycle. I'm going to list a few ways that I use personally and some other ways. So personally, what I do, topics that I'm taking right now, I'm going to be studying the notes for them and like the past papers and stuff. But for the topics that I've already completed a few weeks before, I'm only going to be focusing on the past papers, because past papers personally is the best way to revise, because not only does it help you to stay in motion with your previous and upcoming knowledge, but at the same time it keeps you in that, it keeps your mind up to date with all your weaknesses, because in the end of the day, your external exam is just going to be the past paper questions, but in a more modified and difficult way. Now, when the vacations come in, during this time, I usually make a daily or weekly schedule, and in the schedule, I start revising all the previous notes. So I take like a few days in the beginning to start revising all the previous notes of all subjects from the beginning to the end. Then I start solving past papers of all those subjects in order from the beginning to the end, from the first topic I took to the last topic I took. So this way I get my revision in all day long or all year long. During the school days or during my working days, I am using the past papers to revise, and I'm focusing on the main topics that I'm taking. And then all the minuscule vacations that come in between or the summer vacation, I usually keep myself in regime by revising all the topics one by one in order, then I revise the past papers. So this is how I keep myself in this revision cycle, because again, revising every single day is very important. Like I said, study every single day as if tomorrow is your external exam. So if you're a student who has a lot of time, you could actually revise every single day all the notes from the beginning to the end, and then all the past papers. If you're a student with like very limited amount of time, you could every single day just focus on the main topics that you're taking, and in the weekends you can focus on revising the previous topics. So accommodate and fixate your revision cycle based on your schedule. Second point I want to say is write. Writing is the best and the only best way to understand and memorize something, especially when you're writing it in your own words, the way you understand it. So I know in the IGCSE or GCSE system, we are, let's say, forced to follow the mark scheme, and we must answer all questions according to the mark scheme. So this is like a limiting factor for us students, but that does not mean you close your ability to think outside the box, because when you're thinking outside the box and trying to interpret something in your own words, that's what's actually going to make you understand the thing properly. And the best way to do this, like I said, is write. If you don't want to write in something in your own words, just write whatever is written in front of you. If the textbook has something written, write it. If your notes, well, your notes are already written. If you have pre-made notes by the teacher, write it. If you have PowerPoint presentations, write it. If you watch videos to understand, write whatever they're saying in the videos, write it. Just write, write, write. Why I'm saying this is because, first of all, this is, yes, the way I study and the way many study. But if you look at the percentage of people who are writing to study, you're gonna see a difference. What's actually happening when you're writing is that when you're writing, your mind is being forced to speak out the words inside your head while you're writing. So, first of all, you don't have to do the double work of taking a pre made sheet and reading it all over again just to memorize it without you understanding it. When you're writing, your mind is already interpreting the words that you're writing, so you're actually reading it inside your head. If you pay attention to yourself when you're writing, you're gonna find out that you're actually reading the words while you're writing them. And as you're writing them, you're also looking at them for a long period of time. And sometimes when you're writing, you begin to question yourself because you might come across something that you don't understand while you're writing. Because clearly, when you're writing and you're reading something, your brain is automatically going to interpret that this is something that I'm writing, but I do not understand this, because you are reading it and you're looking at it. If you're looking and reading at a pre-made sheet, you're just gonna skim through it because you didn't do any effort to make it. It's just something that your brain knows. You just have to skim through it. So you're not gonna find that, feeling that there is something wrong in this and I do not understand it. But when you're writing, you're completely immersed into what you're doing. Your hand, your eyes, your brain, your eyes are looking at those words for a long amount of time. Your brain is reading those words inside. You're using your hands to write them. This is making yourself completely immersed in the work that you're performing, and this is what's going to allow you to increase or maximize the potential of focus in your work, and it's also going to help you to question about yourself, about your weaknesses, and overall just help you to understand the topic. So, key takeaway here, and this is not just for IGCSE or GCSE students, this is for your life. If you ever want to understand something, especially when it's related to education, if you ever want to memorize something, or if you have to prepare for something, especially if it's related to your education, the best thing to do or the best way to understand it is writing. The third point I want to clarify is for those students who are, let's say, currently on vacation and you're looking at how you want to keep up with your revision cycle. Because, yes, during your school days, it's much easier to keep up with your revision cycle because you're already, immersed in the work that you're doing every single day. You're working every single day, you're going to school every single day, and you're studying every single day with the community, with the teachers. You are free to ask your teachers any question during the 8 hours or something of school at any time. Yes, during vacations it is a bit harder since the vacations, or let's say the summer vacations, which is the one that I want to primarily focus on here, are much longer, and it's just, much more difficult to keep up with that pace the same way you keep up with it during your school days. So, how to revise or keep up with your revision cycle during your long vacations or summer vacations? The best way is teaching. Teaching is the best way, especially in long vacations, to keep up with your revision cycle. Try teaching whatever you have learned, because teaching is something that is not like revising for yourself. You're not, you don't have that sheet in front of you and you're just not memorizing it all over again. Because doing this for a long amount of time during your vacation every single day, it eventually gets boring. But teaching has another twist to it. When you're teaching, you are connected with another mind. and another mind that has a completely different way and ability of interpreting things. So you're going to be bombarded with many out of the box questions. Of course, if your student is a high level student, but in general, you are being in contact with another mind. So your mind and another mind. You are teaching whatever you learn to somebody else. This way, you get to revise, and at the same time, it's a different way of revision. Because at the same time, while you're revising, you may not be being questioned with the same past paper questions, but you're going to be questioned with other type of questions from another mind, as somebody who interprets the information in a different way and asks you. So this will help you to revise. It's different from the boring way of revising, of just going through all the notes that you've already made. And at the same time, it's gonna open you to a much more new environment. You're gonna feel that you're gonna be questioned by questions that are not like your basic past paper questions. And this is actually going to test your knowledge on how well you actually understood everything during your school days. So you can use these teaching methods during the vacation to keep up with your revision cycle. So up till now, I have said 3 points. The first one is keeping up with your revision cycle, because again, it's a very long program, a 2 year program, and you're going to be tested from everything from the beginning to the end. That is not easy. You need dedication, discipline, you need focus, and you need commitment. So to keep up with all of this pace, keep up with the revision cycle, keep revising, and study every day as if tomorrow is the external. Other than that, we understood about writing. The best way to understand or study something is write it, because when you're writing, everything is immersed. You yourself as a person are just immersed into what you're doing. Your hands are immersed in it, your brain is focusing on it, your brain is reading what you're doing inside, and you don't have to do the double work later on. The last point I said was about using teaching to help you revise during long vacations, because during long vacations it gets boring when you just keep revising all the notes you made all over again. So teaching is a new way of revising. It's going to get you out of that old basic comfort zone, and it's also going to, let's say, open you up to a wide variety of questions with a new way of interpretation by new minds. The last thing I want to say now is to keep up with everything I've mentioned so far, or let's say in general, to achieve success in life. There are 3 things, in my opinion, that you should have balance over: your mental, physical, and emotional health. You should try and find balance between all 3 of these. You shouldn't be working on your emotional health too much and leaving your mental and physical health behind. You shouldn't be working on your physical too much, leaving your mental and emotional behind, and you get this cycle here. So focus on these 3 as if they're all one, because each 3 of these plays a huge role in every single thing you do in life, especially when it comes to your work and your performance. And the performance I'm talking about is not just about your IGCSE or GCSE exams. I'm talking about any work you do in life, whether it's your exams, whether it's family related, whether it's your job. Finding balance between these 3 things is gonna make you the most efficient worker out there. So remember, before you start doing anything, before you even start working on the 3 previous tips I told you about, or any other tips that you might see in any of my videos, before you work on anything big, before you're looking to start anything, always make sure you have balance between your mental, physical, and emotional health. Mentally, physically, and emotionally, you should be perfect and balanced. Mentally, your mental health should be strong. You should be prepared for any situation out there. You should have a mindset that I am ready to face anything. Anything that comes up to me, I'm ready to face it. And you should have plans A, plan B, plan C's. You should not be terrified when something goes wrong. Be mentally prepared for anything to happen. And of course, mental preparation comes with dedication and discipline. And what's going to help you to build that is your physical health. Keeping your physical health top notch is also going to help you, without you realizing, develop your mental health, because as you're working on your physical health, you're actually building up a lot of discipline and work of conduct inside your body, inside your brain, inside your mindset. It's as if you're building a whole new, much stronger shield around your mindset. So automatically, when you're working on your physical health, you're actually building up on that mental health as well. And of course, the first line of distraction that stops you from working on your physical or mental health is your emotional health. Because emotions is something that as humans find very hard to control. So, emotional health should be one of the main health that you should be focusing on, because if you are able to control your emotions, then you're going to be able to control anything in your life. Many a time, when our brain knows what is right, when we know what is right, but we don't feel like doing it, we go with what we feel like doing, and that is emotional decision making, which often leads us to something we do not want. So, having control over your emotions is really important, especially when you have control over your emotions for worst case scenario situations, for things that you do not want, and for like unexpected situations. Because if you're building your emotions, you are building your mental health. And as you're building your mental health, it's going to give you discipline to work on your physical health. And like I said, when you're working on your physical health, you're working on your mental health. So you see, they're all connected to each other. So work on all three of them. Start with whatever you're weak on. And as you're working on one, you're eventually going to see the other one rising up. And as you see all of them rising up, try to work on all of them together and find balance between all of them. As you find balance between your emotional, physical, and mental health, you are working up to achieve your maximum potential. Now, to conclude this video, I have mentioned a few tips in this video to achieve success for IGCSE or GCSE students from my own experience. Now, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.